Billy,
What's up, man?
it's so good to see you
Good
again.
to see you too. How are you?
Thanks for making time.
Oh, you're welcome.
Well, welcome everybody to another First Conversations with Billy Ekofo.
Yes.
He's pretty much known as the relationship guy in real estate.
Ooh, that's a bad
So I'm really
title.
looking forward to this one. But we, as always, talk about the intersection of business and relationships.
Indeed.
So, I'd love to just start off with just a personal question. I love getting to know
Okay.
you more. So what do you like to do for fun? I don't think I know. Other than I've seen some vacation pictures with family, but what do you like to do for fun?
I don't think I can tell you. I'm just kidding. No. So before real estate, I was on a trajectory to become a film director.
Wow.
So I watch movies, but I don't watch it like most people do.
Right.
I pay attention to the shot. I pay attention to storytelling.
This is like people drinking wine who know a lot about wine and are
Yeah,
actually enjoying and tasting and
Indeed.
analyzing.
Like they're not just downing the glass for the sheer enjoyment. They actually
You're
take
saying
the
this
time.
isn't Netflix binging for 9 hours?
Yeah, well, it's when I binge.
It's strategic binging?
Yes, like please, when I'm watching Stranger Things, there's a lot more to me watching that. You know what I mean? Like, so that's what I do for fun. And on top of that, so along with watching films, you also have to enjoy the scoring because that goes along well with the story building, right? So I spend a lot of time listening to, when I love a movie, shortly after I buy the score of the film because to me it's a nice
That's
reminder.
the whole experience.
Yeah, it reminds you of the scenes of the film that were actually very interesting. So a chase scene, give an example. My wife and I saw the first Transformer film we saw it 7 times.
Yeah.
We were that addicted to it. And then shortly we bought the
Of course you bought the
soundtrack. And so now I taught my kids how to pay attention to the music in the film and remember the scene. So I will play in the car and we're like, what happened here? I was like, oh yeah, that's when Optimus was chasing whatever.
That's really interesting. My now 5-year-old daughter, when she was 3, became obsessed with the Nutcracker. And so she had watched it so many times and was so into it that you could literally turn on the music anywhere. And it's a long ballet, and she could act out exactly what was happening. Yeah, she really, really loved it. So I get that.
That's what cool. I do for fun. I watch films and I listen to film scores.
And you've been in real estate for a while. How'd you get into real estate? What are some of the different roles? What's the arc of your real estate
journey,
experience?
right?
Yeah, it's a great story.
So I came into real estate by desperation.
Okay.
I went to business school, and the thought there was that I will get my MBA and go to international development. And so we moved to Northern Virginia because that's the bedrock for international development.
Absolutely.
A lot of nonprofit NGOs are headquartered there. So I was excited. I was like, great, I will get to work and do some work that matters. Right? That's because that's really what inspired me. And I spent so long looking for work and nothing was opening up. Like not even just informal interviews that I would go. Everybody wanted somebody that had experience already in the field. And I was like, well, I think that's why I got my MBA. And I lived abroad and I kind of know some of the places you work. Just give me a chance. No, sorry. So almost 7 months into that. And at that time, we were living with our in-laws. So we moved from the Norfolk, Virginia Beach area to Northern Virginia, stay with them for a little bit. And the thought was like, okay, Billy was going to find work. My wife was going to find work. We were able to either buy a house or rent something and be on our way. And it ended up just being a long-term, stay at their house. And so my father-in-law one day just said, why don't you sell real estate? The market here is very insulated from all the craziness around the country. You'll be able to excel in it. So I said, okay. He said, yeah, just go for it.
Wow.
And I got my license and went into real estate.
Well, to flip it over to another question, are you kind of extroverted or introverted on that spectrum? Where do you put yourself?
Ooh, I'm an extrovert person that enjoys being introverted.
You like having some alone time?
Yes.
Yeah.
I need to.
Yeah.
I think that's how you recharge sometimes.
So as you look at you've got all these relationships. How do you start off a relationship? Like where do you start going? Where does it flip from I just met you to now this is turning into a relationship?
It's the intent. Why do you want to know another person? Is it because you're expecting something from them? Is it because you genuinely want to know someone?
You enjoy them, or you want to get to know them.
Yeah. And this is, I think this is where people have it twisted. Like most of the relationships in our industry, you and I both in real estate, are literally conditioned by one thing. It's money.
Whether it's leading to business or not.
Yeah. Right. Like all these intros, and then at the end of the day, it's like, hey, are we closing this person or not? Like, that's really what's at the core of, is it malicious to do? No, you're growing a business, you need to meet the people that have sometimes, you raise funds, like you need to meet people that will, and you pitching them your product, and, that's part of it. I don't have an issue with that. But if we're talking, the relationship between a broker and its agents, right? It's also conditioned at the core by money. So, to me, it's like, well, we can have all this innovation in the space, but if the core of our relationship is only profit oriented, then it's not meant to last. Like literally, I don't go into any relationship because I need to get something out of it.
Yeah, that's really powerful.
Well,
the intent matters.
That's
absolutely.
it. And so, are you looking to get to know me because you heard about me, or do you think I can make an introduction for you to know somebody else, and I'm just kind of a pawn or a conduit to a perceived path to greatness that you?
It's really, really interesting because we often talk about the difference between relationship driven and lead driven.
Yeah.
But what you're pointing out is you can think you're doing relationships and you can still be transactional.
Yeah.
Right? And that's actually not really building real relationships.
No.
That's still just as transactional as picking up the phone and cold calling.
Yeah. And look, I would rather someone being brutally honest with me from the start than acting like they were really trying to get to know me, and in the end feeling like I'm being used. And I think sometimes that's really what's the problem at the core of that problem is that, people feel we use people all the time. What are we doing maliciously or not? I want to move away from feeling like I'm using someone.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you got that intent, and then what do you do? I think with social media and some of the other things, we can kind of, and hundreds of past clients and thousands of relationships, connections. It's nobody's fault, but oftentimes people kind of skim.
Yeah.
Right? It's very superficial touches. Oh, it's so great to see you. It's so awesome, and then we're on to the next thing.
Yeah.
How do you go deeper? What does that look like?
Bear yourself out. Bear your heart out. That's, I don't know. You can have the funny post. Hey, my dog. My dog did this crazy thing. Whatever. And those are great. But like, I'm very intentional in how I post.
Okay.
I don't post.
Give an example, and you're saying on social media specifically.
Yeah, like Facebook is my social media, platform of interest, and I'm very intentional what I post. I don't post often, but when I post, it's usually, I want people to be aware of a situation that maybe some people don't know about.
Sure.
Right. So I come from the Congo. The Democratic Republic of the Congo. I care about what's going on there politically. There's been so much atrocity in that area of the world, and I don't think it's being talked about. So
a lot of people don't even know what DRC is.
That's it.
Or they couldn't find it on a map.
And so I feel like sometimes I need to bring people into my world and say, look, this is something I'm wrestling with, as I'm looking at it from a distance, right? So that's one.
Yep.
Two, I try to look at, situations from different angles. That's basically based on my experience. Not everybody's evil, and we need to consider some other things. So I'm very intentional about the way I post on stuff. And so some of my posts, if you look at them, they're meant to make people think, right? Like, I'm not looking to post the blame or.
It's not that you're starting a conversation or kicking something off. It's
look,
just here's a perspective. Here's what.
Like, here's a perspective. Like, let's think about it. Now, where it leads after that, I think that's the engagement piece.
Sure.
Like, I'm not, like, people will comment and say, I never thought about it, and then it just starts.
So if you think back to when you were selling real estate,
yes,
or as you're coaching other agents, I know you did some of that for a while,
right?
There's the relationship angle, and then there's the trust piece, right?
There's
in your market probably thousands of real estate agents, and they meet Billy and they love Billy, but how do you convince them that you're the right agent, you're the best agent to sell their house? How do you work on the trust side?
So two ways. I'm going to talk about it from an agent side, and then I did recruiting as well.
Okay.
So I'm going to approach it from that direction. So let's start with the agent side. Every time I met somebody, a prospective client, I wanted them to know that I was in the business, not solely about profit. That I wanted to use that as a conduit for social good. And the reason why I positioned it that way, because I wanted them to believe that my interest was not seeing them as a path to a commission.
Yep.
because I think that's one of the problems in the industry. We're so viewed as just vultures.
Yep.
Because people
looking for that commission check.
That's it. So when was the last time you felt great about someone just viewing you as a check waiting to happen? Like no one that I know likes to feel that way. Why are we pushing that on people? So I didn't want them to feel that way. Sure. In fact, I wanted them to feel like you were helping me have a greater impact in the world. So by me working with you, I wanted to make sure that you know that I'm utilizing the funds coming from this transaction for something greater. Yeah. Some agents do it now, and but that was my goal. I wanted them to know that I wasn't into this just for sheer profit's sake. Sure. So that's on the agent side. On the recruiting side, I had an interest in getting to know agents in my marketplace. Before that, I was managing the lead generation department for our company. And so you talk to, prospects.
Yeah.
Right?
People.
All the time on the phone or via email. I never got a chance to meet them, and I never got a chance to network with other agents in my area. So when I started recruiting, I generally wanted to know who's who in the area, because you don't recruit someone you don't know. Sure. At least in my opinion, you have to develop some form of understanding of who they are, what market what's the market, so the basics.
Well, just like we were talking about with your clients, you have to be able to trust them because they're going to be representing the brand and they're going to bring that into the culture of the team and all that.
Yeah. And so that was, on the recruiting side, that was my goal. It's like, first I want to meet the agents.
Yep.
So, and the way I went about it, I opened my Facebook and I would look up an agent and see if we had connections and comments. Right? Like if they were connected to 10 or even one person that we shared a connection with. And then I would reach out to that person and say, hey, Mike, this is Billy from Century 21 Redwood Realty. I saw that we were connected to Jess Martin.
Right.
Love to grab a cup of coffee.
Cool.
What that does, it proves to the other person that you actually do exist.
Right.
And that you look them up.
You're not a bot that's spamming the world.
Right.
With this.
It's like, okay, we have a point of interest. Like you're trying to create credibility. And so we'll meet. And so the first question usually I ask is like, how do you know Jess? It's like, okay, well, we went same high school, whatever. And then it leads to further conversations, So to me, the best recruits that I think I brought into the company were ones where they didn't feel like they were being recruited.
Sure. Yeah, no, it makes sense.
Yeah.
They knew it was a fit. You knew it was a fit. That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, I'm curious, who's someone that helped you grow and how you understand how business and relationship go together?
Oh, several people.
Do you have any,
Yeah. Big shout out to Century 21 Redwood Realty.
Class acts.
Yes, I worked with Eddie Barenbaum for quite a while.
What did you learn from him on the business and relationships connection?
I think everything. Trust your gut is a pretty good one. Like if it feels wrong from the beginning, do not try to make it right. And you essentially taught me that. Trust the process. There's a way. There's things that are tried and true. Don't try to change that. If anything else, use that as a basis for your innovation. Sure. Right. So he taught me that. He taught me how to read people. My nature is that I want to bring everybody under the same tent. And sometimes some people do not belong in the tent, right? And so I need to be very direct and very open about telling them that maybe this is not the tent
not
for
the
you.
right fit.
Yeah. He told me how to manage people too. And so that was a tough lesson, again, with the whole tent idea,
Yeah, that's a serious relationship in business when you're managing.
Yeah, and you can't. That was the thing. You can't save everybody. Like the greatest gift you can give to someone that's probably underperforming is to help them actually get to where they will perform better somewhere else. Right? If they're not a good fit for your company, don't just say, "Well, you're not a good fit here."
Sure.
Just say, "Listen, this may not work out, but I want to work with you. I know, leverage your resources to find them the best fit." And so that was, he taught me that.
Sure.
Heather Elias is another one. I think every sort of strategy and, marketing sort of questions that I had, I literally just bow at her feet and wanted her, her to impart some knowledge into me because, she knows the industry and she knows marketing pretty well. And, in some roundabout way, agents taught me too. We think of sometimes when you're in management at the brokerage level, you feel like you're the one that has to coach and train agents. Well, the reverse is also true.
Sure.
So you need to be open to that. So.
Yeah, that makes total sense. So on the tips and tricks, you've been around a lot of agents. You were an agent, all that. How do you authentically, in conversations, get to real estate? How does that happen? Do you ever kind of guide the conversation? Do you wait for it to come up? What's your take?
You mean like if I'm trying to do business with someone?
Well, if you're in a conversation, you're catching up with someone, do you have ways that you bring that up or remind them, or do you just let it happen naturally? How does that happen?
That's a good question. I
think that's something you struggle with. How do I be authentic? It's a relationship, but also, want them to know I'm in real estate. Like, how do you solve that?
No, a lot of times, this is what I see all the time. So an agent is passionate about something, right? Mm-hmm. And that sits over here. And equally, they're passionate about real estate, or real estate is what they do for a living.
Life. Yeah.
And those two never come together. Like they're trying to separate
it too. Yeah.
And my take on this is like, why don't you bring those together? So I'll give you an example. Hopefully this is a good one. There's an agent at Century 21 Redwood Realty that I have recruit. Her name is Bobby Desai. So Bobby came on board last year, and I worked with her with the transition. Yep. One day, she said, I'm having some issues with my branding. I don't know how to make that happen. I don't, and as we were talking about it, really the core of the issue is that she has a special needs child, that requires a whole lot of attention.
Sure.
Because he has like one of those diseases that are just rare cases, And she's like, I don't want people to know about it. Like, I want people to know that I'm a competent agent, that I can do the work, which she is. Like, she's great, she's phenomenal. But she's like, that area needs to be. And I looked at her and I said, that can't be right. You need to bring that into who you are as an agent. And she thought about it, and she asked me why. And it's like, because this is why you do what you do. People will pay attention to you and to your business when they know what drives it. You care about causes that involves special needs children. You give your time, your energy to that. How much more if you had a client that's looking to buy a home, would you do the same thing for them? Like, those two worlds are not.
They're not separate.
That's it. They're not in opposition by any means. They collide, they clash, and they fit well together.
Yeah.
And so she went through a whole new rebranding. Now she's Special Agent Bobby.
Wow.
Right? And the idea behind it is like, look, I'm a mom that has a special needs kids. I understand what those families go through.
Yes.
Because when
you're going through a stressful situation, I've been through all this.
Yeah, and not only that, it's like the home sometimes that it needs, that they're looking for need to have special things.
Sure.
They need to have certain type of ramp, and, if they need to put a ramp, it has to be coded a certain way.
Yep.
She understands that. And I'm like, that's an underserved market in the industry right now. And I want to be that agent. And I'm like, what do you need me for now? Like,
that's beautiful.
You tap into it. And so I think that's the issue. Agents sometimes don't feel like who they truly are will be well represented in their business. Yep. And my take on that is to say, it will be. Give it a chance. Like, show people why you do what you do.
That's awesome. So last question, then we'll do our speed round.
Okay.
Are there any habits, consistent things you do that you would recommend agents do to stay in touch with their network? And the biggest challenge, right, is you've got hundreds of relationships, thousands of people.
Yeah.
What are there consistent things you do on a regular basis that you recommend?
Maybe this is the worst advice altogether, but like I don't intentionally think about staying in touch. Like, I don't make plans to stay in touch.
It's organic.
Just stay in touch.
Come to
top of mind. Stay in touch with people.
Yeah.
Look, how many times you call someone and how many times you touch base with them. I guess it differs. It's different when you're trying to solicit business. But like, I think I'm at a point in my career where now it just I call upon friends to just check on them.
Sure.
And sometimes...
So you're intentional about it, but it's not like you have a plan. Or you have a certain number you're trying to call.
I think just stay in touch for the sake of staying in touch.
Yep.
Like, don't make this about some sort of prospecting for new opportunities from people. Look, just be the person that they want, like, be the friend that you need to be. It's been a while, Mike. How's it going? Oh, great. Whatever. Or Jesse, hey, Monique, whatever.
Sure.
Just keep in touch with people. And you'll be surprised. Like, in the process of just doing what you naturally do, it always happens when someone says, I thought about you the other day.
Right.
Really? Yeah. So-and-so is looking to move. Are you still in real estate? Yes, I am.
And that's how it happens.
Yeah. And then I use social media that way,
sure.
too. Like, you can reach out to people, there are CRMs there that are pretty good about telling you when was the last time you got in touch with a certain person.
Yeah.
Like, use that not just for the business component, but more importantly for just keeping in touch.
All the relationships.
Yeah.
Well, this is awesome. So we always end on a quick 60-second speed round.
Ooh.
So our company, you may if you get all of them.
Yes.
Our company's called First, and so we're going to go through a bunch of your firsts. And try to see how many of you can get through.
PG
you can skip any of them you want. That's right.
Yes.
PG rated. All right, let's go. So your first job.
Ooh, international. It's a DSO. So I was an international student advisor. Yeah.
Got it. First car.
Volvo.
First listing.
Townhomes.
First thing you do when you wake up in the morning.
Pray.
First pet.
None.
First question you ask when you meet someone new.
How are you?
First CD album you bought?
Ace of Base.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
First computer?
Mac.
Okay. First Inman Connect.
2015, San Francisco.
Wow. First phone number?
757-620-9582.
First plane flight, where'd you go?
For
you, it's interesting where you went from, too.
Yeah.
To from. Was first plane flight was DRC to U.S.?
Yeah.
First home you bought?
Portsmouth, Virginia.
First kid?
Liam.
First website domain name?
BillyEkofo.com.
That's beautiful. First time, first professional sports game?
Ooh, Capitals.
Nice.
Oh, no, I missed it.
We almost got there. I think I was a little slow on reading them out. This is really fun.
Oh, thanks.
Thanks so much for being on.
Oh, thank you.
There's another First Conversations. Thanks for talking about business and relationships.
Will do.